What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is Gift of Being. And it's just me today. So we're always in the mode of doing. What if we actually started being? What a gift is it to be and especially be you? And magic is everywhere, abundance is everywhere. What if we can tap into abundance and start creating it in our lives with total ease? That's where I am right now in my life, um, being kind of a life coach, certified facilitator of access consciousness, being founder and teacher of Akashic Records in the School of Akashic School of Creation. And today our conversation is about access consciousness tool of being and what it is to have that gift. What if you are actually a gift to the world? Just for a second, look at your life overall. Cool. You get the energy of it. And most of us, including me, had a busy life. It's pretty much about doing, constantly on the go, stressed out that we have to accomplish this, we have to do this, we uh, need to be there, we need to go somewhere, we need to meet somebody, work, make money. All of that is doing. And because of that doing, I ended up with open heart surgery and a heart disease when I was very young, at 37. I was already on operating table because of stress of doing, because it was all about doing my work, doing my family, yeah, and doing my husband. It's all about, it was all about doing this, cooking, cleaning. Even though I didn't do much of that, there was still that stress that the house has to be clean. It has to be like patients has to be taken care of, because in a prior life before surgery, it's kind of like um, BS and AS. So the BS of my life before surgery, or bullshit, you can translate it any way you'd like, but most of that was about doing. I had no idea about what being. To me, being was going on vacation and resting. But resting is actually doing. And yet, during the vacation, during holidays, when I had days off, a lot of times there was that piece of relaxation. I was looking forward to the vacations and specifically going away. Because if I took a vacation at home, that was not a vacation. It had to go someplace, either like a road trip or to Mexico, to Caribbean, somewhere where I could lay on the beach, relax. Doesn't have to be on the beach, but relax. And that was my idea of being. But in reality, this is just part of being, this much. And yet, the relaxation part of it is actually true. Because when we relax, everything becomes easy. And I'm talking about being all the time, being in our lives. the space of being has a very high vibration. It's not that depression and laying down and doing nothing, because doing nothing is still doing, because you're taking yourself out of doing, but you're doing something else. Versus when you're in that space of relaxation, it's a space of joy, not ecstatic joy, but the quiet, where you're totally happy, totally satisfied, totally being present, totally being you. That's what being you is. The only way to access it, or sorry, the access it, it's your choice. You just choose it. But for me to show you, I cannot describe it. It's energy based. So if you're at home and sitting or laying down, just put your hand on one hand on your solar plexus, the other one on the chest, and just feel your butt on the chair or your back on the bed. If you're driving, don't close your eyes and don't take your hands off the wheel, please. If you're operating heavy machinery, don't do that either. But if you have an option, just do that. And just connect with your body. Yes. Just relax and just be. Open your crown and connect with the divine energy and pull the energy into your body, through your body, into the ground, and connect with our beautiful planet, Earth. Yes, this is our planet, the green and blue, the round marble flying in the cosmos and flying in the vacuum, but the vacuum is not empty. That's where the consciousness is. Everything is consciousness. And you know, the definition of access consciousness is the consciousness is, it includes everything and judges nothing. That's pretty much the definition of consciousness. And we are consciousness. So connect to the consciousness of the planet and pull the energy of Earth through your body, through your heart, thymus, and exit it through the head, and allow it to mix in the heart. And the more energy you pull from below and above, the more it starts filling your body up. And the more you fill it up, it starts kind of like spilling out. Use that energy to expand. Expand, 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 expand. Maybe a mile, 10 miles. And if you're in Europe or Canada, kilometers, and expand even more. 10 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers, million kilometers. And just allow yourself go to infinity as a sphere. And don't forget to drop your barriers. And just allow yourself to be in that space. How does it feel? To me, whenever I expand, it feels amazing. It feels like it's pretty much I can conquer anything. I can be anything. I can do anything. And that's the truth of it, because that space is magical. When we are in that space, we are pretty much that being of magic, that fairy that can just like do this with a magic wand. Well, too bad I don't have a magic wand, but just wiggle your nose like in the bewitched. Like, I cannot do that. Sorry. I tried many times, and this is one of the failed attempts at that. Uh, But you don't have to wiggle your nose. You don't have to have a magic wand. All you need to do is just ask, what would it take for me to have whatever? And right now it's a holiday season. We are in the middle of Hanukkah, and it's a Jewish holiday. And yesterday, Rachel Silber and I did a crazy, wacky, totally irreverent show about holidays, about what Hanukkah is. We cannot talk about Christmas because we're Jews. And it was called uh, Being a Jew, Changing the World. So, a little about Hanukkah, because it's a holiday of light. And it's not just lighting the candles, it's about bringing the consciousness into the world, the sparks of consciousness, the light, because each one of us has a spark of light. According to Kabbalah, when Big Bang occurred, the sparks of consciousness were spread out throughout the whole universe. And it's kind of like our job or purpose or something like that, to find those sparks of light, those sparks of consciousness, and get them together and create consciousness here on this planet and in the whole universe, of course. So when we light the candles on Hanukkah, the 8 candles, and there is magic behind it, and I'll tell you in a second. I know I'm going on a tangents, and I'm just a touch of ADD, ADHD, all of those things. So I have that shiny ball syndrome. I'm like, oh, here, I'll talk about this. But eventually I'll get to it. I know Dr. Dane talks about it, Dane here. But that's how we operate a lot of times. And we don't have to go in a straight line, by the way. When we work with magic, when we play with magic, it's not linear. So me going on a tangent is not a wrongness. It's just whatever is required in the moment. So with us lighting the candles and bringing that light into the world and showing that the light exists, it gives each one of us the hope that among the darkness, because the candles are lighted at night, among the darkness there is still light, and light disperses the darkness. And Einstein actually said there is no darkness. Darkness is just absence of light. I love Einstein. He was brilliant. So think about for a second. If there is no darkness, so when we light the candle, we actually disperse darkness, which is a lie. And it's time for our first break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on the Inspired Choices Network. When we return, we'll continue to talk about consciousness, about being you. We'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is Gift of Being. And before we went on a break, we were talking a little bit about magic, about us being magical beings, and especially when we expand instead of contract. The thing is, when we are not being, and by the way, there is an amazing book by Dr. Dane Hare, Being You, Changing the World. Because that's actually what is changing the world when we being us, true to what is, true what we desire. And there is actually a class coming up this weekend on 17, 18, 19, and 20th by Dr. Dane Hare, Being You, Being You Adventure, or Being You class. It's 3.5 days, amazing class that changed my life. And it's based on the book. So that's kind of like where I found out what is being me. And it's funny because I got that book right after I did my first bars class. And by the way, if you never had your bars run, it's 32 points on the head, lightly touched, changes your life. Or at least distresses you, takes the stress away. So just try it. And you can find it on my website. I teach classes about that. But after I took my first bars class, I purchased the book, and 3 days later, I went to India. I love India, but the trip was interesting because we had to go through Himalaya where we were on a horse, and I'm not a rider. I think I was on a horse when I was very young, and my horse kind of like lay down and rested. So it was an interesting experience, let's put it this way. And there was things during the trip that were quite interesting because we were in places where normal people don't go, or at least not to tourists. So I've seen a lot of poverty, a lot of darkness, and yet there was that light I was talking about in the beginning, where if we are lighting the candles, if we are being who we are, the darkness disperses. So that book was that candle that lighted the way pretty much. And if you never read it, please pick it up and read it. It's on Kindle, it's on Audible, it's everywhere. And you can purchase from Access website. So what is being? We started with the meditation before the break. So that's a space, the expansion, the light, the choosing what's fun. That's what being you is. It took me quite a few years using the tools of Access and Akashic Records to figure out what is being me. Because for years, it was more about being whoever my family wanted me to be, whoever my friends wanted me to be. It was that image that they created in their head. I would kind of like almost, the virtual vibrational realities where in a game, you create a character. You're not that character, but you're playing that character, or in a movie or in a play. You create that character. But at the same time, you're not that character. Some actors go so deeply in the roles that they become the character. That's when the movie is amazing. One of them, Keith Ledger, actually killed himself after doing the role in The Dark Knight, because he became that everybody saw him as a character, or something else. But that's what kind of reads. So, but you know what I'm talking about. When you're with your family, you're one person. And you're not it. There is like something else more than what you are with the relatives. Because you have to cut parts of you to fit into their reality. You have to pretty much contract yourself into the image so you can fit there. I remember when I was married, it was literally, I had no idea who I was anymore after 10 years of marriage. It was more about who my husband wanted me to be. And sometimes it was not a good role because he saw me. It's very interesting because when I was married, I did not like organization. I would put things wherever I was holding it, and it was a mess. As soon as I got divorced and moved out, everything was organized in my house. So I actually played the role that he decided I am. Have no idea where he took it, but it's kind of like a game of pull and push, not necessarily cognitive. And I'll say it's never cognitive. It's more vibrational, it's more energetic. I was dating somebody and he told me on first day, and I should have run, that every woman that he dated was a bitch. Guess what? I'm not a bitch. But a week later or 2 weeks later, with him, I could not control myself. I became mean. I became kind of like demanding. And I could not recognize myself, but I couldn't stop myself. How often do you actually do that? When people around you have projections and expectations of you, you might not be even aware of their projection and expectation. You just act in a certain way. And that's when we are not being us. That's where we are pretty much doing our life, not being who we are. So what if you let it go? And what if you start asking questions? Who does this belong to? Because a lot of times you would like to say something or you're thinking something and it's weird because it's not quite what you would have thought, but you might think that too. So you're like, yeah, it's my thoughts. What if you asked for every thought, feeling, and emotion, who does this belong to? You might even ask, what does it belong to? Because sometimes it could be you picking up animals, you pick up trees, you pick up a lot of other stuff around you. Because we are psychic sponge. Again, I'll say we are psychic sponge. We're picking up energies of everybody and everything around us. So let's do it together. Who does this belong to? And you don't even have to concentrate. Sometimes I just do it for just the hell of it. Who does this belong to? 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 Cool. I'm feeling lighter. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely feeling lighter and less contracted. Because a lot of times just using this tool can expand you. Because all those thoughts, feelings, and emotions, they contract you. And especially during the holidays. You know how many people are lonely during the holidays? You know how many people depressed during holidays? And you know how many people during holidays are actually happy? Or are they stressed? So what if instead of being stressed, unhappy, lonely, and depressed, what if you choose to ask, who does all of this belong to? And see if your mood changes, if your vibration change. Just saying, don't have to believe me. Please don't believe me. Just play with the tools. And this is time for our second break of the show. And when we return, we'll talk more about all of this. You are listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Helen Gitlevich, on the Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Magic and abundance are everywhere. What if you could tap into abundance and start creating your life with complete and total ease? Working with Dr. Helen Gitlevich will give you exactly that, total ease in creating abundance in your life. Dr. Gitlevich creates classes all over the world, both in person and online. She works with you to create abundance with your money, with your body, with your relationships, with all areas of your life with total ease. Connect with Dr. Helen Gitlevich at creatingabundancewithease.com. Her contribution in your world will be a noticeable gift in a very short period of time. This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on creating abundance with ease. And today our show topic is gift of being with myself. So before we went on a break, we were talking about how we pick up other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, how we pick up their projection and expectations, and we act accordingly instead of being us. And the tool we were using, who does this belong to? And some people would say, oh, that can't be that easy. Try it. So what if who does this belong to actually starts clearing your mind? I used to do a lot of meditation. I actually started my first yoga meditation at 11. And at that time, well, I had no idea. And I continued with that. Seriously, I did Zen for about a few years. And I always had that monkey mind. And during meditation, I was able to kind of like slow it down, but there were still things coming up. And I remember when I just started, and you start by counting your breath. And I would do 1, 2, and then immediately, I need to cook this. And I'm like, okay, wait, I need to count. But as soon as the thought comes in, you start all over again. So probably the first few months, I had hard time going past like 3 or 4. I think when I went to 6, that was the happiest moment. But then suddenly I went to like 35 because it means I was not present. Because you have to do pretty much 1 to 10 and then start from 1 again. And this is kind of like how we are. But 99% of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions, not ours. And it's not being who we are. So instead of choosing to kind of like behave and think and feel like everybody else, what if we choose to be us and start clearing our mind of that other people should? And as I said, BS, before surgery, I was constantly bombarded by thoughts, feelings, and emotions. AS, after surgery, or when I was still bombarded, but when I started access consciousness, especially with bars pretty much detoxed my brain. When I had my bars run, there was no thoughts, feeling, and emotion. I still meditate occasionally, but just for fun of it. Now it's not a necessity anymore. Because before I had to meditate to get my mind at least more kind of like in balance. Because otherwise I would go probably nuts with everything that's going on in my mind. So talking about being you as a gift, because it is a gift. You'd say, but then I would lose everyone. Possibly, but what if you lost something that you never have? Because what if a lot of people around you are not true? Not true friends, not true kind of like, and you know it. Because if those relationships are true, you're not going to lose them. Because they'll love you no matter what. And especially if you're being you. When it's different energy. When you're being you, people like you even more. Because you think you have to fit into their mold so they would like you. Not necessarily. People who truly love you, they will love you when you are you. And it's a gift because when they see you becoming you, they can choose that too. And when we are us, we create that expansion throughout the world where unconsciousness cannot exist. And it's magical. What if we can just ask and we shall receive when we are being us? Just do that for a second. What would you like to have right now? And by the way, that's a key because a lot of times we think we desire something, but how much of that desire is desire of someone else? Someone desires it, you pick it up, you decide that you desire it, and you don't receive it because it's not even your desire. How often do you go to the store, let's say for clothes? You pick up clothes, bring it home, and they're hanging with the labels attached to them for years. I have that because those clothes were not mine. Somebody else has desired them, or the clothes desired them. That's another topic, probably we'll talk next time. And with pretty much our own desires being hidden under the layers of everybody else's desires, because we shut it down so much. We used to have it. All of us had it. When we were kids, we knew exactly what we desired. We were us. We knew what we wanted. We knew what we chose. And especially too, when somebody made us do something, there was a no and sometimes a tantrum because that was the potency. No, this is not good for me. No, I don't want this. Or I want this. Because the child is being who the child is. Animals being who they are. I think last show or the show before, I have a cat, so Bella created a havoc just to prove that she was being her on one hand, or she might have picked up my thoughts, feelings, and emotion that I didn't want her to do something. And of course, animals don't hear no. There is no negativity in their world. So they hear, oh, you don't want me to make noise, so I'll make noise, because that's what they hear. They hear, you want me to make noise. And how often do we pick up people's thoughts and feelings and emotions, and they don't want to do something, or they don't want us to do something, and we do that? Or we kind of being oppositional to what they desire. There is so much crap is going on in our logical mind, which is not logical, but we can call it monkey mind, logical mind. Logical mind actually explains the insanity that we go through. So what if we didn't have to have the insanity? What if we just let go of all of that? What would that create in our lives? What if we actually knew exactly what we desire and chose it? How much more ease would we have with everything? Expand again. Just go all the way into millions of miles. Yep. And now look at your problems. How many of them are actually problems or nuisances? What if you could redefine your insurmountable problems as little nuisances you've created? Because, by the way, we create everything. We're so powerful that we create all the shit in our lives, consciously, unconsciously, or unconsciously. I'm not kidding you. every thought, feelings, and emotion, every point of view you have, that's what created your life. Every fear that you have creates your life. For years, I've taught classes on creating visualization. I've done creative visualization. Wow. It's been 35 years that I've done creative visualization as a practitioner, as well as taught some classes on that. And I loved it. I loved the vision boards. I loved the journals. And yet there is always that thing. You can't write anything negative in there because the universe does not hear negativity. It just gives it. I remember writing something that I didn't want to see in my husband. Guess what? I got it. Because when we resist something, when we don't want something, that's what we create. There is a joke, and you probably heard that. It's the man sits in the bus and thinks, oh, my kids are idiots. My wife is a bitch. My boss is an asshole. I don't have money. And my life sucks. Behind him sits an angel. Invisible, but still an angel. And he's writing something down, and he's thinking too. He's like, interesting. Every single day, this guy has weird wishes. He desires such an awful things. Don't get it, but anyway, he wishes for that. Let's make it happen. So that's pretty much our lives. We put out to the universe, not necessarily angels, but to the universe, to God, to divine, to whoever you believe is out there, our desires, our fears, our resistance to something, our unwillingness to do something. And the universe does not hear the no, the negative part. Because polarity, the positive, negative, is only in the physical world. In consciousness, there is no polarity. There is no good, bad. There is no right and wrong. There is just infinite possibilities. How much are you refusing to have those infinite possibilities? And when we are being us, that's when we can see those possibilities. That's when we stop resisting and reacting or aligning and agreeing. We actually have choice, and we can choose. We don't need to decide. We don't need to make the right choice, because there is no right choice. There is just a choice. And the choice is good for 10 seconds or less. You choose something, doesn't work. We choose something else. And it's time for our third and final break of the show. Wow, time flies, definitely. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Inspired Choices Network. And we return, we'll continue talking about what is being and being a gift of being you. We'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease. And today our show topic is Gift of Being with myself. So, being, gift of being. Just for a second, imagine your life if you be instead of do. What your life would be. And pun is intended. Because your life would be totally different. And being doesn't mean doing nothing. It's doing from the space of relaxation, from the space of expansion, as we talked before. And we've done the meditation in the first part, and then we talk more about what we do when we be. It's more about melting everything by being the space of infinite possibilities. Imagine if you don't have to push to do anything. It was funny. One day I've decided that I'm so tired of doing and doing and doing. And I'm like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to be. And by the way, resting, watching TV, still doing. I didn't realize that until that day. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to be. I'll relax. I'll do nothing. And again, do nothing is still doing. That's so funny because we are so entrained in the world of doing. Because even doing nothing is still you're doing. Every time when you're doing, you're not being. Being is just a space. It has nothing to do whether you act or react. Because doing is a lot of times is a reaction to what you need or what you have to, what you must do, have to. All of those are doing and proving. And there's a lot of judgment associated with that. When you're being, you're like, oh, cool. What would I like to do now? This is a space of doing from relaxation, doing from being, and it's action much easier. Because when you're being, you actually know when is the time. Because a lot of times we do because we have to, and sometimes the action is not on a timely matter. And I know time is not real, but there is a lot of times, certain moments when it's easier to act. Now is the time, or now is not the time. And when you're being, that's a gift of knowing. Because when you're being, you're actually acoustical vibration instead of electrical of this reality. And that's probably whole another conversation, which will be in other shows. But anyway, when you're being, action becomes much easier. So that's my invitation. This is about choosing the space of being the melting energy where everything becomes easy or everything comes with ease. The mantra of Access is all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. But that's not going to happen until we are being. When we're being, that's when all of life comes to me with ease, choice, and with ease, joy, and glory. Well, choice comes in there too. And our show is coming to the end today, but I will be back next week. This show is every Wednesday at 11 Central Standard Time or Daytime Saving Time. I'm not sure what it is now. 12 o'clock, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or I think it's 9 o'clock in the morning Pacific. And next week, we are going to be talking holidays as a gift or a curse. Also, there are a few classes I'm doing. One of them will be a free Zoom that you can join me on December 28th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's on Monday. And January 23rd, Intensity of Being, One Day Being You Adventure, which will be online and live in Chicago area. Also, there will be a few classes that's going to be rearranging itself because I have a class in Israel which might or might not be happening because of our wonderful governments and lockdowns. So I hope to see you someday live, or you keep listening to the radio show, podcasts. It will be in recordings. And we have, I think, now almost a year of podcasts. And now the last couple of months, even videos that you can watch, plus TV. Exactly. We have TV platforms on Binge TV. You can watch us live. No, I think it's not live yet, but eventually it might be live at some point. And we are on 210 platforms. Wow, I didn't even know that. I always was thinking of 50 platforms. How does it get any better than that? And of course, watch on YouTube. And there are links on Facebook, Instagram, and everything else. So we have just a couple of minutes left of the show. I just want to wish you happy holidays, whichever they are. It's Hanukkah right now, and lighting the candles. So happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas that's coming up. Happy New Year. And any holidays that I'm not aware of that's coming up right now or in the future, happy holidays. Enjoy them. Be you. Be without trying to prove that you fit into this reality. Be the uniqueness that you are. And what if we are just grateful for our lives, no matter what it is? And how much joy can we have each day? What if you live your life, this is your last day? What would you choose this? Would you choose trauma and drama? Or would you choose to have joy and happiness? Just saying. And I will see you soon, either in live classes or online. Just best wishes for the holidays, and just be and have fun, joy, and glory. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. Bye-bye.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life and your body.